Before starting my usual intro, I want to shout out friends and family who continually show their love and support for this podcast. Thank you so much. I can't put into words how grateful I am to produce this podcast um, without negative energy coming my way. I know we are still in the early days for this podcast, and as I work out the kinks, I promise to deliver more and better content. This includes being able to clip my hour long podcast into short and sweet bits for you to enjoy. So, as of today, I am announcing that I will be clipping for TikTok. TikTok is an unexplored territory, and I've mostly spent my leisure time on Instagram. I haven't always respected TikTok. My opinion of TikTok was negative, as I always believe that the shorter the content one produces, the shorter the attention span of your audience. And while it might be true, I think that is a bad opinion because it is demeaning to people's intelligence. Also, I believe that TikTok challenges me to condense and shorten the long message. All I want is to be able to spread a positive message. Anyway, if it is possible, would be cool for me. Without any further delay, let's get into today's podcast. Hello and welcome back to the podcast. If this is your first time listening, please follow me on Spotify, the podcast app on Apple devices, or YouTube at Real Juanacala. If you find the content interesting, leave a rating or a comment. You can also follow me on Instagram on my official page at Reasonable with Juanacala, and watch clips now on TikTok at Reasonable underscore Juan. That's at Reasonable underscore Juan. Alrighty. I wrote that before because I wanted the message to be clear. But take that off. Okay. So now that I just kind of worked on this for a little bit. So yeah, I think that the clips is going to be a good thing for this podcast. You're going to get more people to listen to this. As of now, I don't really have a clear idea of what I want to talk about yet for today's podcast. I've been thinking about doing episodes regarding certain emotions or certain times that I felt some type of negative emotion, and specifically is negative emotion. I did an episode on worry, and I really think that people resonated with it. I think people connected with it in ways that maybe I didn't think about before. But um, it comes from a place of it comes from experience. That negative emotion is so close yet so far. Like, it doesn't take much for someone to start feeling some type of negativity, whether it's feeling sad or angry, or if you're feeling lonely and um, anxious or worried. Like I said, worried, I think already. But more than anything, from my experience, I like to talk uh, uh, from a place of connection with people, because if I can't connect what I feel to other people's um, experience, and there is some sort of like disconnect. So I can't really say too much about things that I don't know. But for me, being worried, it is a topic that extends itself long more than just an episode, perhaps. But um, I'll guess for today's episode, I've been feeling some type of like solitude. I wanted to call this episode loneliness, but it's not really what I'm feeling. What I like um, is that there is a distinction between loneliness and solitude. And being in solitude, it allows, and being in solitude is sometimes seen as a bad thing, but it could be as a luxury. Some people don't have the same privacy that maybe we can find in everyday life. Some people have obligations, and they can't really find a moment where they can just be by themselves alone in their own thoughts. So for me, I find that I am comfortable with being alone now. It doesn't matter if I have to go do a task on my own, or if I'm dealing with certain negative emotions. It's just like a very natural thing for me to be able to deal with that alone. And I wasn't always really good at that, at expressing my thoughts to myself. I mostly was kind of justifying bad behavior to myself in terms of like um, thinking bad about myself, my own self image. And so I was just reinforcing that and giving fuel to the fire of depressing thoughts. But for me, now that I've gotten through the gauntlet, gotten through challenges and hurdles at this point in my life, I guess um, I see that I'm emerging as the person that I want to be, rather than being stuck on who I was before, uh, just a couple of years ago. And I used to be fueled by some type of like negative. Um, I don't know exactly how to describe it. For me, it's like a black hole, like I have said before. It's like something that attracts my mind towards it, and it just makes me more selfish and more just in my head. But with being able to manage my own type of thoughts and feelings, and in some ways, I've been able to get better at just being a person. I just feel like when I was younger, I didn't really know who I wanted to be, and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with my life, and all that uncertainty created like this vacuum of space where it was like a void. Like, no, I didn't really know, didn't have a clear direction. But I'm so happy that I'm finding myself, especially with this podcast. I know that it's still in the early days of its creation, I guess you can say, but it does give me some type of closure. It gives me some type of uh, outlet, some creative outlet, and being alone allows me to be able to think through what I want this podcast to be, or what I want to do with my career in terms of like education, and what I'm doing for work, and just other things that arise in life, like your relationships with your friends, a relationship with family, and all of those things. I feel like I am at peace when I am alone. And some things that I do alone are also like I've been going to the gym lately. Um, Going to the gym has been very interesting for me. I've learned a lot about myself, and I think that I'm getting better at being disciplined at going, and that I think that what that come where that comes from is more of like a deep desire to become better, and to become better requires a healthy body, because I can't have a healthy mind where I'm going to be talking about personal and maybe sometimes very hard topics that maybe it's not personal, but it's just difficult to talk about. Like I did an episode on um I think it was worry, but that episode really just took a lot from me. I was in a negative spot in my mind, and it was hard to kind of have that release. Even if I'm doing the podcast, like I realize now that it's just not just that single outlet to, you know, I can't just have this outlet. I can't just release everything that I think and feel onto into you guys, into burden people, into I don't know. But I shouldn't really see it that way, But that's what I was thinking recently. Um, Apart from exercising and getting up early to exercise, uh, I've been good. I've been good with work. I've been good with reading. I've been reading this book here that I have next to me. It's called Word Painting. I don't know if this is good. Word painting. Let me hold it like this. Word painting, and it's called Word Painting: The Fine Art of Writing Descriptively by Rebecca McClanahan. So it only cost me $19. So as people can see, I have a bookshelf behind me. I've been filling this bookshelf up for the last couple of years, but I haven't had a desire to read all of them from front to back. Um, I wanted to continue doing something with my time outside of school, because right now I'm like on summer vacation after a semester of math and philosophy. I decided that it would be good for me to continue learning, with the books that I do have. And one of those books happened to be Word Painting. I don't know exactly why I got that book. And then that confusion, I decided, like, hey, screw it. I'm going to read the book, because that's just what was next on the shelf. And I see now, like, I have more clarity in describing things. I think that describing, well, kind of, let's go back. Writing is so important for a person, because you are able to channel your thoughts and ideas onto very specific sentences, and the editing process allows a person to be able to go and pick apart different ideas and different words, maybe change up their types, the words that they're using, and all that is to make me into a better person, because I feel like uh, there's times where I lack the right words to explain myself, specifically emotion, because emotion is a tricky thing. It's something that is only perceived by me, or is perceived by me in a way that is different from what you would perceive if you thought the same thing. It's different. It's not in the same. It's not ordered in the same way as maybe a person might think about a rock. If we see the same rock, or I like that rock example, but I'll change it up. Let's say uh, a certain item on your desk. So let's say, for me, it's like this dragon right here. Like, if you see this dragon right here, you might think that, you might look at the colors, you might look at the shape of this thing right here, and you might start to have different ideas of what this is, right? You might think that it's cool. You might think that it's like some type of, like, um, I don't know. Like, I described it as a dragon, so already in your mind you're starting to see um, this dragon. It's different colors. Maybe if I put it closer to the camera, you start to see that it was made in a specific way. But for me, from my perspective, I see this object as more than just a physical thing on my desk, but a reminder of an experience. See, I got this dragon with my girlfriend when we went to a Hawaiian festival, and when I described that to the listener or to the reader, if I wrote it down, a person would start to form that story in their heads. And um, this colorful dragon here was 3D printed, and this thing is so cool. So this a single object here, has a story to it, and I think that's why it's so important for a person to kind of like describe an object, Seemingly just a cool looking thing can extend itself more to what it is physically, but to the story behind that thing. Maybe someone has a wallet that was passed down by a wallet that was passed down by their dad or an uncle or brother, or they have like a certain type of shirt that they like to wear every day, or not every day, but like a certain they have a favorite shirt, and there's a story behind it. Is what I'm saying. Uh, and it just goes into very personal territory when you start to describe the various things that a person has. I mean, even behind me, like I have a painting that I painted. I think you can put it right here. I'm pointing to a painting for my listeners out there. I'm pointing to this painting up here that looks like an eagle, uh, right here, and it's an eagle, but down here and is like looks like some type of tree, but it's very it's not clear. It's not clear what it is. And over here, I have a lion that I painted with a shield, a crown, a sword with a snake on it, and some flowers that are found in Hawaii. Some of my hats. So there's a lot of things back here that your eye might be able to grab a hold of and start to see. But as I start explaining um, different stories about it, I mean, obviously you're going to have uh, a response to it. Like this painting right here, I didn't want to do, which is the eagle and the tree that I was describing to my listener. Um, this this painting is not something that I had a plan of, but it just kind of emerged from me just playing around with the paint. Like this came in a phase of my time in my life where I was still trying to figure out what I wanted to do, and I decided that I wanted to paint. And simple as that, I started to paint, and that's what came out, an eagle. And I thought it was cool. I could have like painted anything, but that's just kind of what it came out of my mind um, at the time. And for me, the eagle is a symbol of freedom. It's a symbol of creativity. And in that creative mess that I started with in the beginning, just kind of putting paint onto the canvas, I I started to see some type of form, and in that form, I found an eagle. So I thought that was kind of cool. That my mind, you know, that I kind of that image was formed, and I didn't try to do it. So I thought it was cool. This other image here, I painted while I was reading a book called Man and His Symbols by Carl Jung. He was a psychologist, and Carl Jung had very um, I want to get the right word for it. Interesting ideas about dreams, and for me, and symbols, and for me, this painting represents the darkness. Well, I should probably point to it if you're watching it, but I'm going to try to describe it. Is this painting here? Um, obviously the background is black, and now you have a lion, a shield, a crown, and a sword with a snake on it. All of these things are I think they came from this place of like feeling that there are symbols of responsibility, respect, and power. And these symbols, I use them because they make me feel like it is like it's hard to describe. Even with reading this book of word painting, I'm horrible at describing things. But it makes me feel okay that I can't describe it. It's just one of those things where it's like a feeling. It's hard to describe this painting because, well, for one, it's not very good. It's very bad, very flat. Um, but I'll try my best to describe it. So they have this lion, very basic lion. And this lion is the predator, is the king of the animal king, is apex predator. Um, and you can start to think about the Lion King, Uh, and in that movie, the Mufasa is the king of of all the other animals, and is a symbol of a leader. I think it's a symbol for a leader, like the Lion King, like Mufasa. Think of that. A shield with a cross on it, and the cross is supposed to symbolize, Christianity, and the shield is something that defends you, protects you. The crown is obviously added in. I added it in because I thought that it goes with lion, because the lion in Lion King is, you know, kings must have a crown. So I painted a crown, uh, and then I painted a sword. But instead of the sword just being by itself, I painted a snake around it because, I wanted it to. I wanted a person to feel like, although it is a dangerous weapon, or it could be seen as like something that is defensive, that you ought to be careful with how you use your weapons. And sometimes, like, that snake in your mind, or those bad thoughts in your mind, are used to do bad things. And this sword, I think that it is used to protect you, but it's also a warning, I guess, to myself. And these paintings weren't like, I'm not displaying it specifically because I wanted to people to see it, or um to have their own, I wasn't trying to show off, but there's just kind of like the pictures the paintings that I decided that I wanted to put back there. But anyways, I that was at a point in time where I was still trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. But in reading that book, it made me think of like the the strength in the mind, and how it's not obvious to me that the mind will how my mind, or anybody's mind, really produces meaning for itself. Because, like, I have talked about the meaning of life before. For me, the meaning of my life was still unclear, and through various inspirations, I found out that to find my meaning of life, I kind of had to search from within. And art, it lends itself to that medium of painting. It kind of lends itself to for self-expression. And kind of like how a paper is blank, a canvas is blank too, until you put something on it. And through self expression, because for some people that is hard, for some people communication is hard, and it's hard for me. I stumble upon my words. I don't know exactly what to say. I'm not a social, um, type of person like that. But I can I can find myself expressing. I can express myself really good at things that don't require words. And I feel like, painters that are way better than me, people pursue that 100 times, 1,000 times, and they come up with really cool stuff. But I also think that it's not just an artist trying to imitate life. It's something from within that they're utilizing, some type of muse. In this idea of the muse, I'm not sure where it came from, but it's the idea that there's a source for creativity, a place where humanity can tap into if they're in the present moment, and able um, to tune in into that frequency, that type of source. And for me, I find that when I do this podcast, I can tap into that muse and really just go and feel relaxed with what I'm saying, you know? It hasn't always been that way. I think I've said it before, but I had a podcast before this one, and I stopped doing that podcast because I felt like I didn't really have enough to say. I felt like I was boring people. I don't know. I was really down on myself, and I can still be like that. And then sometimes you might hear from me today, but I find that I get to understand myself more when I do this, especially about myself. And I wanted to have guests in the future, obviously to do this podcast with, because I just don't want to be by myself doing it. Exploring me, like I just feel like it's so pretentious, but at the same time, it's interesting because I get to discover like what I like or don't like to talk about. You know, and for me, talking about personal stuff is very hard to talk about. It's incredibly difficult. It's not good for me because I usually don't talk about personal stuff on in my day to day life. So, and I don't think people really do that either. But um, I want this to be personal because I know that it has an effect on people, an effect on you, whoever's listening, whoever's watching this. I know that it has some type of effect because, and I'll at one point in time we all feel lost. We all feel like we don't know where we belong. Um, and sometimes that journey it is by yourself. Like maybe it is just maybe you trying to figure out what you want to do in life just require you to be by yourself, because at the end of the day you are the person that decides what you are going to do. No one can really tell you what you're going to do or what to find enjoyment in. It's really something that you have to discover on your own. And for me, like I said, this is podcast, the production of it, the the reading that I do for it, the preparation, all of it kind of goes together. But more than anything, I find enjoyment in like being by myself and really just learning. And for me to be able to communicate those ideas and hopefully like be a good teacher one day, or some form of teacher, I have to get comfortable with sharing personal stories like the one that I just shared, which was the paintings. But I guess that's just one story I guess I can put out there into the ether. Um, yeah. So, but there was one thing I did want to kind of add more into, which was Carl Jung's ideas of the symbols. Listen, I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a clinical psychologist. I I briefly know the content, but what I found in the book is that humanity does create all of the creates meaning everywhere, and even in the words that I'm saying right now, everything has a meaning, even though it's not clear to other animals that there is meaning in something. But we see things with purpose, and art is something different. It's not exactly a tool. It's not something that we need for survival necessarily, but it is out there. And I think that comes from our psyche, from our mind. It comes from the unconscious, the something that is below our conscious awareness, something that is underneath the surface of our ego, of our super ego, which is a part of our mind that expresses itself when it is in front of people, in a form of personality. But I think the unconscious mind is a interesting place to visit, and this part of our minds has been talked about by psychologists, by just people on the internet like me. But it, in some philosophical way, it uh, um, has its connection to the meaning of life. And I think at times when we are awake, I feel like we get wrapped up in the day to day busyness and the day to day clutter and the day to day responsibilities that we forget what we really want deep inside. And I think dreams is a good sleeping and dreaming is a good way to connect to that point. It's one of the reasons why I went back to school, actually, because I kept having these recurring dreams where I would be late to school, late to school, or I would be failing and not graduating. And I kept having that because at the time in my life, I wanted to drop out of school. I didn't want to go, and I wanted to do something else. But I kept having this recurring dream of wanting to go back to school, and I was like, that's so weird, And I was looking for guidance, and one of the ways I found guidance was reading Jordan Peterson, his book 10 Rules for Life, and also his podcasts and interviews. And he's a clinical psychologist, so he has some type of weight here and credibility to what I'm saying. Uh, I always felt like there's things that we don't understand about reality, about being a human being, and in that border of what we know and what we don't know is things like dreams. Like it isn't obvious for scientists why we dream. I mean, you go to sleep and you're in a really vulnerable spot, right? Physically, you can get attacked by the predators in your sleep. Uh, you're basically paralyzed. So it's not clear to me that it serves for survival, right? Even just for humans, I mean, even just for other animals, but for humanity, I feel like it's not, other than just replenishing and resting the body. Maybe it's nature's way of like forcing nature, or animals to rest. I think that sleep serves a different function for humans, and that could come from you know I guess it's very speculative, and I'm not too sure what I want to say here on that. But for me, sleep has definitely been a problem for me. I've been waking up early for no reason. Just wake up early. I have problems falling asleep and all that. So my sleep schedule is all messed up. It's all types of messed up right now. But it is what it is. I haven't had that reoccurring dream though, what I was talking about earlier about going back to school anymore or being late since I've gotten back to school. So I feel like since I'm living out that dream now in real life and you know, uh, conscious awareness, that I am okay with that my unconscious mind has gotten comfortable with the idea of being back in school. And me being 26 years old and going back to school is not ideal. Most people are doing their masters by now, or doing having kids, or getting married, or doing something else. But for me, I think this intellectual, or this this drive to learn stuff, to learn more about life and all its different complexities, is so compelling to me, so interesting. I don't know if I'm like an intellectual or people that just study all day, but I definitely do enjoy learning new things. And I guess I'm like a seeker. Like I seek knowledge. Like I'm trying to find what is useful in day to day life. And even if it isn't, like for people that are like me, that have extra time and want to pursue, I guess, their curiosity, I'm that. I pursue my curiosity. And going back to what I was talking about is the dreaming. I was curious to know what that is in terms of like in the mind, and what it is physically. Um, so the different aspects of sleep. Uh, yeah. So I'm still I'm still new in this topic, but another recurring dream that I had was this podcast. Actually, it's like I had dreams that were people would ask me why I stopped, or like I would be filming an episode or something. It would be like reoccurring, but since then it stopped as well. Uh, yeah. So very strange stuff. But I like the strange. I like the weird stuff. I like the weird stuff in the world, because that's where the interesting things happen. An everyday, mundane, boring life is the 9 to 5. It's the paying the bills. It's things that I think that don't really capture the imagination of us as as we continue in our lives. I think we forget that we have to remember that we are some type of strange creature on this rock in space, floating, being held together by gravity. Like, all of this is insane, strange, weird. And I think that all of this weird stuff and all these things, it gets forgotten by our culture, and things are about vibe, and things are about I don't know. We're disconnected from nature. We're disconnected from ourselves. And hopefully with this podcast, I can make you think about how, you know, through my own journey, how I've tried to connect with myself more, how maybe you can connect as well with yourself, and discover what makes you you, what motivates you, and what gives you purpose in life, and things like that. I think I'm always interested to know what that is for people. Obviously it's a very personal thing, because people aren't ready to start talking about that, because maybe sometimes it's not a good thing. Maybe it's a negative thing. Maybe they're seeking revenge. Maybe they're very angry about something that happened to them in the past, and decide that I prefer not to talk about it, and we'll talk about anything else. So it is completely okay. I think there will come a time where people are ready to open up to things like that. For me, I I intend on continuing my journey of self discovery, um, through solitude, through being alone, through learning, and all of that is just like coming together in a very disjointed way. But it'll get better. Like, when I started this podcast, it would be like such a pain to edit it and to shorten it, or to start producing or anything like that. And I think I gotten down to about 2 hours where I can record, produce it, post it online, and everything. So I'm pretty. I'm happy. I'm happy because of that. um, what else can I talk about, guys? I mean, in terms of like some type of philosophical topic here, I'm not too sure, but that's just what's coming into mind. Um, I could talk about soccer. I could talk about sports. I, for me, I guess for me, there hasn't been too much news, other than like for Real Madrid in terms of like news. Not too much. If you're not a Real Madrid fan, but if you are a Real Madrid fan, this last week has been full of emotion for people that enjoy watching, watching Madrid for a long time. Like Modric, Luka Modric, he's been a great player for Real Madrid, and he recently retired from. Yeah, not retired, but I think he's leaving Real Madrid at the end of the season, and it's very sad to see, because he's been one of our, he's been in the team for such a long time, and winning trophies, bringing glory, bringing glory, winning, but with passion and with determination. His character is one to be admired of. He's very much a football legend, not just a Real Madrid legend. But anybody that enjoys the beautiful game, I think, can respect the Luka Modric. But it's especially painful for me because of how he did all of that with Real Madrid, and it's the end of an era indeed. Him almost, I think, 40 years old. Uh, is insane. I think he joined the club. He joined Real Madrid when he was 27. So just around my age, he joined Real Madrid, and not at the prime of his well, I guess you can say that his prime was much later than other players, but it's just been crazy to see his journey and the goodbye to the Real Madrid crowd has been pretty cool to see. I want to add something here. I want to show you guys what I'm talking about here with Real Madrid. Let's see here. No, my mouse isn't working. What's going on here? Technical difficulties here. Let's see. There it is. Okay. So I wanted to pull up Luka Modric saying goodbye to the crowd, because it just looks so amazing. Toni Kroos too had a really good goodbye to the Real Madrid fans at Santiago Bernabeu, but Luka Modric also did too. Luka Modric, I'm looking up. Not Luka Modric. I mean, not Luka Doncic. Yeah, I'll just post it right here. I'll start playing it. Let's see. Go back. And I'm gonna share my screen with you guys. Share. Yep. Okay, hopefully you guys can see it. There it is. So here's Modric saying goodbye. Here he's standing here in front of his the crowd with his family. Wow. Speech.
Bueno, ha llegado el momento que nunca quise que llegara, pero ha sido un viaje largo, pero maravilloso. Primero, quería dar las gracias al club, al presidente Florentino Pérez. Quería dar las gracias a todos los entrenadores durante todos estos años, mis compañeros que me acompañaron en este camino y toda la gente que me ayudaron durante todo este tiempo. Muchas gracias de corazón. A mi familia también. Sin ellos todo esto no sería posible. Es difícil, pero bueno, al final hemos ganado mucho, hemos tenido momentos maravillosos, ha ganado muchos trofeos aquí, pero el trofeo más grande que ha ganado es vuestro cariño vuestro amor que me habéis dado todos estos años.
You want to see Roman cry? Yeah, this is it right here.
No hay palabras de verdad para agradecerlos todo lo que me habéis dado estos años, y al final quiero decir una frase que he visto y que me gusta mucho. No llores porque se terminó, sonríe porque sucedió. ¡Cala Madrid y nada más! ¡Gracias!
Hola Madrid. Oh man, it's tough. It says thank you, Luka. Gracias, Luka. Modric, Modric. People are in tears. You know, I was in tears watching this too, to be honest, because what a player. There's not going to be another player like him anytime soon. He's like once the generation player. And like he said, he's won so much with the team for a long time. Been part of this generation of players that have, you know, won everything. So there it is. It's the goodbye for Luka Modric. And then I will talk about Xabi Alonso because that's what's coming on next. But Luka Modric, obviously leaving has been very tough. Even though we all know, you know, that he's not at the same level that he was maybe 2018, you know, so it makes sense. It makes sense that he was the next one to go, but it just seems like as a Madrid fan, you're seeing that team that won the 3 Champions Leagues in a row, you know, a player leaving from that team every season. But like he said, for those that don't speak Spanish, he's saying, don't cry because it's over, but smile because it happened. And very true. Very true. Stop sharing that. Okay. Yeah. So I had that kind of weekend. I'm a little burnt too. I was out in the sun yesterday. A little sore. So this morning I went to the gym. Instead of going in my car, I went walking. It's not that bad. It wasn't that bad because I guess I learned a valuable lesson and never to lose my keys again. Because freak, fuck, I had to walk like 30 minutes, 45 minutes actually, even though it's pretty close. But it's crazy how something that's very close in the car is actually pretty far away walking. But I decided to go because it's part of my routine. I didn't want to not go to the gym because I've been making it my routine the last week or so. Like I'll post it on my Instagram story, like, oh, I'm here. Here's the time here at the gym, early in the morning. I think the earliest that I posted was like probably 3:30. That's something to keep me in check because I want people to know. Because if I'm the only one that knows if I went to the gym or not, then I feel like people can hold me accountable, and that way it's like better. I don't know. I kind of see the why it's important to kind of post the going to the gym or not on social media. But I don't. I'm not gonna post like as of right now. I don't think I'm gonna post like my progress or anything like that, just because I'm still not comfortable with it. I still need a long way to go, and especially with how I've been eating this weekend, As I'm recording this Memorial Day weekend, freaking last night I had carne asada fries from Pepe's, and anybody that knows me, I love Pepe's. But this meal messed me up. It messed me up last night. I woke up, you know. I'll spare you all the disgusting details, but it was good food. It was great food. But uh, but yeah, I also had a couple of slices of pizza at a friend's house because I was moving. I was helping move a couple of things to another house. Help move the couch. Did I help them move the couch? Didn't help them move the couch, but I moved the dresser. And I moved other things, put things down from the stairs and all that, boxes and all that. You know how it is for my movers out there currently in movement or moving. They know that it is a lot, especially at the beginning because maybe at the end. But for me, the hardest part is going up the stairs with stuff. I don't mind going downstairs; it's way easier. But going up the stairs of anything that's hard, it's a workout for your legs for sure. And I was dead tired after that. Um, had had a couple of drinks. Then I went to my dad's, my mom's, my and I hung out with my family for a little bit. Being there with my family was cool. Uh, then after that, just kind of came home relaxed. So there's not too much that happened this weekend. Because I mean, since today is part of my weekend, technically, I I decided that I didn't doing this podcast and it wouldn't be a bad thing. I did miss out Real Madrid's last game, but I was able to see, like I kind of put Luka Modric right now. One thing I did forget to talk about is Carlo Ancelotti and his farewell. I didn't really get to see it, but I get the gist that the most important thing of that you know goodbye was Luka Modric. Um, and then today, I mean, you have Xabi Alonso being announced as officially the new Real Madrid coach, and presented to everybody. And he's talked about wanting to fire up the Real Madrid fans. So that's cool. I always, as a Real Madrid fan, you always like to hear that a coach has energy, he has new ideas, and that he wants to make changes for the good of the team, but also kind of give props to the team of play, the players that we have right now because you have such a great team. You have such a great quality players that making a good team is really on him to kind of put the pieces together and make good signings. And so I'm excited on that aspect of what I enjoy. I was thinking about buying a game. I wanted to buy video games, but I don't know. I always feel guilty about playing video games because I feel like I could be doing something else. Like there's something else that I need to do. Like I want to stay busy doing something else, but I don't know. The only game that I really play is just the EA FC. Whether it's with my friends, if we play Rush, or if we play, or if I play Seasons, like I've been playing today. Uh, Other than that, I've basically just kept my leisure time as like trying to read this book, like I had said before. So I just want to go into it a little bit. What I've learned so far, I mean, so much. I've read 134 pages. Fuck me. It's been a lot, but it's very insightful. And there's some exercises in there, like in terms of like writing exercises. There's some writing exercises in there that would be useful. Um, I don't know how that would be useful for this podcast or just life, but I guess it would be useful with life. But my goals are going pretty strong, and that's good. Had some setbacks with my weight loss journey, um, but that's all good. That's all good. in terms of guests, guys, I want to bring on some guests onto this podcast, but I'm not too sure when or how that's going to work out. Just because I'm here in my room, there isn't too much space here to kind of have that happen. But I'm still deciding on whether or not to do it. Um, of course, that would be really really cool to have people to talk to, not just me just blabbing on and ranting about, or rambling on un- unnecessarily boring things. But yeah, um, yeah. So I guess I'm gonna just start wrapping this up, guys. Thank you for listening. This has been Reasonable with Juan Alcala. I appreciate you guys listening. Stay tuned for some clips that I'm gonna put on TikTok and other clips I'll be posting on maybe YouTube or Instagram for sure. Um, but yeah, thanks for listening, guys. I appreciate you. Wait, how the fuck? Yeah, that's staying in there.